Hey, buddy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Back it up on me, girl. Oh yeah. Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah. I have heartburn from that pizza.
That's good.
Welcome back to a Life After Football interview. Today I'm sitting down with my old teammate and good friend and supportive subscriber, Luke Fenstermaker. Luke, how you doing today?
Great. Feeling great.
He said he's feeling great, guys. So, Luke graduated in 2023 from my high school. He was a running back and middle linebacker. He's a kind of a multi-tool kind of guy. He can do it all. But now he took a year off, and I just burped because I ate some pizza. And now he's going to go play for OSU's club football team. And the BTM podcast does plan to go to at least one or two of the game days, so stay tuned for that. The club league, I guess the collegiate club league, is actually really interesting, and it's kind of a different kind of college football in a way. But I'm definitely excited for it. I know Luke's pumped for it. We've been grinding all summer, and we got about probably a month and a half until we both got a report for our seasons. So today's podcast is mainly gonna be around his playing career, as if he was done playing it, and then we can maybe dive into some college questions and kind of what he expects, because he's technically a freshman but going to his sophomore year at Ohio State. So, Luke, what got you interested in football?
Hitting people.
Hitting people. So fourth grade, midget football or Pop Warner, whatever you want to call it, came along, and you're just like, I want to hit people.
Well, it was also, I played flag football when I was younger, and my parents told me I wasn't allowed to play football until I was older. So, most of my classmates started playing in third, fourth grade, but I didn't start until fifth grade. So,
Dang, it's unfortunate.
I know, a year behind.
So, who were your, kind of getting into playing and stuff, who were your biggest influences in terms of your playing career?
Josh Cribbs.
The Browns, the punt returner?
Yeah.
Why him?
Greatest of all time. He's a dog.
You don't think Devin Hester's better than him in terms of a specialist?
I didn't watch him. I just watched Josh Cribbs.
You just watch his highlights and got you amped?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always cool to
He's
watch special teams, big plays, man, and he was pretty good at that.
He also played wide receiver and some running back, so he is just all around the field. And he was the only good Browns player for...
Was he even good at receiver or running back?
Yeah, he was a dog.
Dog all around. He said he was a dog all around, guys. An absolute dog.
Browns legend.
Browns legend. I mean, that's not very hard to be, but... What was the most memorable moment of your football career?
Scoring the game winner against LB. I think that speaks volume for itself.
So for those who didn't watch the Kane video, because this is coming out after, of course, I still haven't posted either one. I still got to edit. But for the Kane video, Kane and Luke were both in the same class, and they both were the team that beat, or I guess the grade, or whatever you want to call it, the seniors that beat LB after a 21 year losing streak. And Luke, if you see the combine video, I posted that touchdown video. So yeah, it was super cool to witness that. So definitely happy for you, man. It's definitely going to be a lifelong memory for sure. I have to imagine.
100%.
Yeah. Which game or season stands out to you the most, and why?
I think it'd have to be a game against, I think, Hopewell Loud my freshman year, because, most people don't know, but I played lineman my freshman year because we didn't have enough numbers. I was a 130-pound left guard, so but that game was very memorable because I did not stand out at all stature-wise, and, that game I knocked the kid out and sent him to the ER on a stretcher. So
That's why
it was very memorable, but it was also okay, this kid means business, and he's not gonna back down just because he's small. So it put my name out there.
okay. I love that. That's cool. That underdog kind of thing.
It's bad that it has to be I sent a kid off on a stretcher, but that's what put me out there as somebody who's gonna go out there and give it their all.
Love it. That's a great mindset. Great mentality. So when I know you dealt with some injuries in your career with some hamstring tweaking, stuff like that, rolled ankles, whatever. I know a lot of leg injuries usually. Am I wrong?
Yeah, two torn hamstrings.
Two torn hamstrings. How like how did you overcome setbacks, injuries, and like what advice would you give to injured athletes?
Well, with the hamstrings, it was more so in track. With football, it was more like I tore a ligament in my pinky. My pinky doesn't bend right now. It's not bad, but for the hamstrings, like it's really just a lot of you have to put in the work in the off season to make sure you don't get those injuries. But if they do happen, just know like you can come back. Like it's not impossible. You might have to put in more work than other people to get to where you were or above where you were, but it's possible and people do it all the time. Just that grind set mindset.
Mindset, mindset. Who was the best teammate you ever played with and why?
Probably my freshman or sophomore year. Um, we just had multiple guys who were D1 caliber, D2 caliber. Even if they didn't go and play, like they had offers for D1, and I played scout team defense against them, and it was hell. I think that's the start of my concussions.
Yeah, those that I think that 2021 class especially was just
Yeah,
dogs, man. That
yeah,
whole class, there was not one like not they weren't all college level guys, but that whole starting lineup was dogs, man. And they honestly they were probably better than small town football. I mean, they probably could have played at some bigger division schools. In Ohio, they have Division 1 through Division 7 in terms of high school levels, and my high school is Division 7. But those are dogs, man. Like we had a linebacker who was like he was like 3 years in a row All Ohio linebacker. Like he was a dog. Um, so yeah, and those guys definitely made me better too. Definitely inspired me to be. I in my brain though, I still don't think I'm better than those guys. Even as a 20-year-old man today, I still don't think I could.
that's not an unreasonable statement. I mean, it wasn't like they were very naturally gifted, but they were also just really smart with the game of football. Like they were just, I don't think they put in as much work as we have,
No, they did not.
but
Absolutely not. They were just naturally gifted.
they're just so naturally good at knowing the game of football and playing the game of football.
Their biggest downfall though was just fear. The fear of not being good enough for the expectations, and that was their biggest downfall in terms of that season. Honestly,
Yeah,
that team could have made a huge run, but they just let fear get to them.
yeah.
Um, so let's go to life lessons. So, what important life lessons you learned from playing football
Oh, see, this is where Arlington football strived because they focused on making us better men
than football players? Yeah.
than football players. Yeah, 100%. But I think it's just pushing through like adversity, like especially like my senior year, we went through so much adversity with our schedule and people going out. Same with COVID year. I mean, like we had the LB game, we had like 6 people who got COVID or were in contact with COVID. So like we had to learn and play through adversity, and like it might not seem like it at the time, but like that definitely applies to life, whether it's like school or work or whatever you're doing in life. Like you can apply sports or football to literally anything you're doing in life.
Wow. Just wow.
Philosophical out here.
Philosophical. So, like, after you've taken a year off ball, and you spent a year at school, just OSU Lima branch, and you've been focused on engineering, not really training in terms of being a football player. Like, so what's kind of like your mindset trying to get, like, you took a year off, you're trying to get back into it, and now play at a high level in the college ranks? What are you trying to do? Like, what's your mindset? Like, is there fear? Is there confidence? Is there like what's kind of going on in Luke Fenstermaker's brain?
Well, as Coach McCarron would say, it's probably false confidence because I truly don't know my skill level until I get there. But my main focus right now is just staying healthy and like learning the playbook. Because when I show up, I think it's August 22nd is our first day of football. Um, when we were in a Zoom call, my coach literally said, "If you know the playbook better than someone who's like way more athletic than you will play because if they don't know what they're doing when they're in, nothing matters. Like you could be a freaking left guard playing running back, but if you know the playbook better than anyone else, like that's what matters. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to put an emphasis on learning the playbook and being fast because everything is fast in college ball.
Yeah, the speed. That's the biggest change to each level. It's just the speed of the game. Like everything is just faster and faster and faster the older you get.
Yep.
And the other thing too is like you're a freshman and you're just gonna get your butt kicked. Like that's the hardest thing with freshmen is like just going through the adversity of being a college freshman in football. Like I don't care if you're a dog, man. You're going up against 20. You are an 18-year-old guy, and you're going up against 23, 24-year-olds, like at the latest. And like there's a huge gap there. You're gonna get your butt kicked by guys with experience, and that's just the truth. And like every freshman has to go through it, but that's what separates people that stay or quit. Is like if you can get through that butt kicking and go through adversity and develop and grow. And that was probably the biggest thing that I went through my freshman year at Mount Union. I just had to deal with. I'm going up against fifth and sixth year seniors, and like I have to. I'm going against all American corners. I have to get my butt kicked every day. Like I have to go through it. And that's just like that's my biggest advice to you in terms of going into your. Do you guys have fall camp or do you just have like report date, whatever?
It's kind of like we start practice the first day of school, and they used to do a combine to kind of figure out, okay, who has the best measurables, who has the best this, that. But they said we're just getting straight into it. We don't have time to mess around anymore. It's just straight to work. So
Good stuff.
right when I get there, I'm gonna be third string running back because there's two guys above me who have a year or two of experience. So
Yeah,
I'm at the bottom. It's
shot
underdog
grind.
mentality now.
And truly, combines don't show anything. They don't. I mean, yeah, they're measurables and stuff, but it's all about can you go out there and ball? Can you go
Yeah.
out there and play? Because my measurables are terrible, but when I get in that field, man, I'm gonna make some plays.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So what advice would you give to like younger athletes aspiring to play ball?
Just do it. So many people just question or like are too scared or they're like, "Oh, well, I want a summer." Like you're there for 2 hours a day, if that, until 2 days. Like that's nothing. You have 16 hours of your day that you're awake, something like that. But like just do it. There's a lot of kids in Arlington right now that are just they're too afraid to play or they feel like they have too much stuff going on. But then there's some kids who play three sports and they're basketball, soccer, football all summer long. Like people just if you really want to do it, just do it.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Just go for it. Can you share a funny or interesting story from your playing days?
Oh man, there's a lot. There's so many. We had so much fun out there. Um well, I think the most memorable like funny moment was one of, you remember this, everybody from our class and like 3 years older than us know this story. Like I don't want to say names, but
Just
people who know would know. One of our teammates cut off another teammate, threw an apple at his car, and then when we were warming up, this kid who threw an apple at the other kid's car is just in tears. He's crying because his 2004
Mustang
V6 Mustang got hit by an apple.
beamed.
It didn't leave a mark. It didn't leave a dent. It left nothing.
Didn't it hit in the convertible plastic window?
Yeah, no, didn't hit anything. I mean, it hit the car, but it didn't hurt anything. And this kid is in tears, demanding an apology after almost causing a wreck. And coach told him to sit down, and he left in tears.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the whole like it was from my sophomore year, freshman year of the when the kid passed out and Coach Bergman was like, "Keep moving."
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many moments. Like,
Yeah, and then we have this really big coach. Like he's the O line D line coach. Obviously, he's really big, and his guts way bigger than his legs. And he like Call of Duty slid to this kid like, "Are you all right?" And then we spent like all water break making fun of the coach that did that. It was the best practice ever, but it was so hot.
It was like I was sitting close to where, or I was standing close to where, the kid who had broken his leg was, and like I watched a teammate look at him as he was falling. I didn't see him. He was in the peripheral vision. I didn't even see him, and his eyes just get real big, and he's like, "What's happening?" And he's just like, teammates just on the ground. He's passed out.
Face planted.
He didn't say a word, and then like it was like 5 seconds later. It felt like a lot longer. Um, but we called the coaches over, and coach just moved him forward, and we continued practice with a kid who passed out. He wasn't playing football. Like he had a broken leg, and he was passed out on the ground, and we just moved practice forward.
Yeah. Hey man, we want to win games. You gotta keep moving.
I don't know. This might have been my senior year, but we had two incidents of people driving in areas where they like weren't able to drive or weren't allowed to drive.
Remember
Like,
that grandma? There was one that a grandma like
yes,
drove in the track or whatever.
yes, the
Yeah.
grandma was driving around the track.
That was my senior year, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, grandma was driving around the track during our practice,
And
and
coach was like, "What?"
drove around the play set, and then the one lady was driving in between like the parking blocks in the fence for the football.
How'd she even get
State.
in
I
there?
don't know. She had to have driven over a parking block. I don't know where she thought she was going.
It was a decent sized SUV, so it's not like she could squeeze into anywhere. I
She
don't-
drove right past our weight room, and there's a shed right beside, and we thought she was going to hit both. But she somehow made it through and then drove over a parking block to get out, I guess.
Yeah.
There's so much random stuff. Your birthday spankings that you ran from, and
Yeah, I hit out for an hour after practice. I never got spanked though. I got spanked in the band room actually, but that was whatever.
yeah, we're not allowed. I don't know if we're legally allowed to talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are some of your interests and hobbies like outside of football?
Mm. Video games.
That's a given.
I don't know. Like if it's not football, I mean, I've had a long-term girlfriend, so a lot of my time is spent with her if it's not video games.
How do you
Yeah.
feel like that relationship is strengthened because of your time with football? Like, do you feel like it's like helped you in terms of as being a man, in terms of like treating her nice and stuff like that?
I mean, it's definitely helped me growing up. I mean, I still definitely have a lot of growing up to do, but um, it's held me accountable too when I don't want to be accountable because I know like I have to do it for her, for us. That's not just football, but with work and with school. Like you don't always want to give it your all, but you have to.
Fire,
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 fire.
dude. That's fire. That's a fire statement, dude. Dude,
It's a grown man statement.
it's a grown man statement. So, I know what now that you've graduated, it's been a year. Do you still have any relationship with any of your teammates? Man, kind of.
Um,
What was that transition like? Actually, before you answer that question, what was that transition like? Of like, okay, you're because I know it's a huge transition from like the guys because there were six of us seniors, and as soon as the season ended, I just saw a huge like different, and I noticed difference in their character. As soon as that clock hit zero in our last game, we were done playing. Everyone just kind of went their separate ways. Was that kind of the same thing for you after your senior season?
I mean, for your class, a lot of them didn't play other sports, so like it was just like a drop off of all responsibilities, and like for some of my class, yeah, like kids stopped caring about school, they stopped showing up. Um, but like outside of school, I never really talked to that many of my teammates. Like it was kind of just a mutual thing. I don't know. Even like, yeah, I didn't want to bring this up, but I'm gonna bring it up. The after the LB game, there was an after party, and I think me and Kane, we were never told about it. I think we were the only seniors that weren't told about it. But they had a party, and like all the freshmen were there, but we weren't invited or said anything about. So
The guy who scored the game-winning touchdown didn't get
hey,
invited.
hey, okay, I fumbled 2 or 3 times that game too. So let's not forget about that.
Dang, bro.
That's the forgotten about part of the game.
What's
Nobody
what's
cares
that
about
like,
it.
bro? What's I have never. I've never been given the opportunity to catch a ball or make a big time play when it actually mattered. I was always the guy that got taken out for the other athlete. So what's that like being in the big time moment and you just like you messed up? Like what's that mindset to like try to like fix yourself? Like what kind of like what went through your head when you fumbled that ball the first time, or even the second or the third time?
Okay, well, the first time, since we were running triple option and you're not supposed to grasp down on the ball right away, I didn't even feel the ball hit my chest, but it hit my chest and bounced right off of me. Never once felt the ball. So that one was like the ball was on the ground and they called fumble, and I was looking around like it's not our ball. Who had the ball? And everybody was looking at me, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's great. That's a good start to the game. I think that was our second drive, and then the second one, all of us were soaking wet. It was like 95 degrees in middle of August. We were or September. We were drenched. My towel got stolen by the refs. Never got that back. But I remember reaching for it and it just wasn't there, so my gloves were soaking wet. And I went to get a pitch and it slipped through my hands and hit my knee, so it fell in front of me. And then after that, I took off my gloves. But yeah, senior year, Coach McGrain really just pushed the next play mentality. And like, since I played every single side of the ball, I never came off the field. It really was just a next play mentality. Like, okay, I messed up on offense. Like, I gotta make it up on defense.
Hey, I mean that's pretty good that you get that second chance. I don't think I ever got to experience that because I only played one side of the ball my senior year. Um, Interesting. Wow. Um, I mean, I bet scoring the game-winning touchdown though it kind of made up for everything in a way.
No one even remembers that I fumbled.
I didn't even remember. 'Cause I remember watching the game. I don't remember you being
No
playing bad in
one,
that game.
no one mentioned the fumbles. It was everyone mentioned it until I scored the game-winning touchdown, and then it was like
What?
nothing
Huh?
else mattered.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Um, is there a specific moment with a teammate that stands out that's special to you? Not just a memory, but like just a teammate in general.
Um, I don't think there's a specific memory, but like when I was freshman, sophomore, and I couldn't drive, Jack kind of took me under his wing and like took me in all the practices when my parents couldn't, which was often because my parents were never home in the summer. So Jack really just took me under his wing, even though he probably gave me four concussions. He's probably the reason I was able to play football.
Shout to
So,
Jack, man. Jack's a good man. Good guy. That's awesome. So, you know, Arlington has a really big winning culture, and like it's been that way. I mean, it's not a championship program in any means. 'Cause, I mean, we haven't won since '76 or whatever, but we're always in the top three usually. Um, how do you feel like your teammates support each other during adversity or tough times? Like, what do you think? What do you think is special about Arlington football in terms of like when your experience is there? Like, how do you guys stay uplifting? I think it's kind of already answered it with next play mentality, but do you have anything else you want to add?
it's a small town. I mean, if you're not on top of it and like moving on, like coaches will step aside and say something to you, or like players on the sideline or even players on the field will step aside. Like I remember like I missed a tackle, I think, against OB my junior year, and they scored a touchdown, and it got put in the newspaper. Yeah, got my ankle stolen. Um, but rather came up to me after that. It was just like next play, man, next play. Like we always kind of had each other's back on the field.
Yeah, for sure. So, so what are your kind of like your current goals and post and ambitions post football? I mean, you're going to go to Ohio State now, main campus and stuff. So, kind of just dive into that.
Well, I'm going for my computer engineering degree, so I'm hoping to get an internship at least by next summer for either electrical or computer. Um, and then post grad, Um, my girlfriend is looking at grad schools out west for pharmacy, so that might be a potential move. And then once I do have my degree in computer engineering, it'll be like at least out west. Like I could work for the big companies like Intel or AMD or like anything. Honestly, computer engineering is it's a very vague degree,
Very broad.
very broad. Yeah, not big.
So how do you feel like that's gonna like how do you think you can translate your time with football to that then? Like what can you
Just
thank football for in terms of pursuing that?
learning how to work hard when you don't want to. And that's like the main thing, especially with football. Like, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do, but I do it because I know that I have to. Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? Okay, not you. That was supposed to be me, but
No, no, it's me.
yeah, no, I don't think
I'm
so.
David Goggins. I'm him. Just saying.
I don't think so.
No, but I am. But I am.
Okay, Bruce Wayne is he's terrified.
Sorry, Bruce. Um, and just to end off with the people that are still watching after that scream, after the legacy, kind of going into your legacy, your time is coming to an end. I mean, college football is the very last kind of portion of anyone's career if you're lucky to seek a professional opportunity. You're going into its sophomore year to OSU, freshman year of the season. Can't wait, super hyped for you. But how do you want to be remembered by the Arlington community, the fans, teammates, and even going to OSU? Like when that time's up, like what do you want to be known for? When people say Luke Fenstermaker, what do you want them to say?
Just like hardworking and good guy. I don't really care much about how good I was at football. Like if I leave a impact with kids in the younger grades coming up, like that means more to me than winning a game against LB.
I do say I think Arlington does a really good job of that in terms of like the upperclassmen affect the underclassmen, and then those guys want to be like those upperclassmen, so then those upperclassmen affect the underclassmen, and it's like a never-ending loop.
100%.
And I experienced that specifically. I'm gonna shout him out, Cade. Cade doesn't like social media, but we'll say Cade. Um, so Cade was a sophomore when I was a senior, right? Or yeah, because you were junior, you
Yeah.
would been a sophomore.
Yeah.
And I looked out for him. I gave him tons of help with him because like he just would not drop his hips. He would not plant his foot, and I kept working with him all season. I'm like, hey man, you get it. And that stuff I'm still working on, so I shouldn't really talk. But I really tried to. I saw the talent in him. I wanted him to get better, and he was a dog. He was working. He was making. He wasn't really the best on JV, but he was consistent in terms of that. And then going into his junior year after I graduated, went to Mount. He texted me and said he got three. And I was like, no way, man, you're wearing three. That's awesome. And that's when my little brother moved up as a freshman to play. And Cade texted me, hey, man, I'm going to look out for your brother. And I'm like, that's amazing. Thank you. Appreciate it. And then Cade had a great time on JV, being though he was getting some varsity time, but mostly his time was on JV, but he was balling out, making plays that I never made on JV, especially as a junior, because I was a junior on JV as well. He had a great senior year, I know, amazing senior year, had an amazing impact on my little brother. And now my little brother's going into his junior year, and number he picked, three. And for who? Cade.
It's kind of funny that it's not for you, but I
Well,
get it. I get it.
I think deep down he doesn't want to admit it, but I think a little bit maybe because of me. But he said it was because of Cade, and I honestly couldn't be prouder. Like I had an impact on that kid. He graduated, and now that kid's had an impact on my little brother, and I hope my little brother impacts somebody to wear three or just be a good man and stuff like that. So that's kind of my example, and it makes me feel really good. Like after all that time, like I impacted Cade, Cade impacted Luke.
That's all I hope for, honestly. Just keep impacting the younger generation.
Do you know who's wearing 11 this year
I don't.
or 33?
I don't. I
Um,
don't keep in touch.
yeah,
I guess hide behind the curtains and hope that they're doing well.
I can are you gonna go to any games you think to watch?
I went to a Hard Northern game because it was close. But no, I'll be in season, so
Probably,
it'll be
probably not. Yeah. All right, we're gonna end off with one last question. What do you consider your biggest contribution to the sport? Probably breaking the LB streak. I mean, it's probably the biggest contribution you made to Arlington football.
that's probably the biggest contribution I know that I've made to Arlington football. It's probably the biggest one, yeah. I know a play my junior year where I ran through two lead blockers and made the tackle in the backfield. I remember Coach Leonard saying Saturday morning after that he was going to use that clip in every uh meeting for like all Ohio on like how to be or how to take on lead blocks. I remember that specifically, and that made me really proud. But I didn't know this. Apparently, he goes like all around Ohio and works with linebackers. I don't know. That's what he said.
That's sick.
That was pretty sick. I was pretty proud.
That clip's gonna be played forever. Sick.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, to show me that because I'm curious now. I don't think I've ever seen that clip.
I'll show you.
Cool. Sweet. All right. So before we end out, Luke, do you have anything you want to say to the viewers before we sign off?
Yeah. Well, I have something I want to say to you, but I just think it's funny that your dog's name is Bruce, right? After Bruce Wayne, and you know who else likes Bruce Wayne?
Who?
Nick Chubb. And you know what he does? Owns the Bengals franchise. Owns Joe Burrow.
Maybe I might cut this out. Just
Yeah.
that's crazy to say on my podcast as a Bengals fan. That's crazy.
It's not crazy to say.
Well,
You named him after Nick Chubb, basically, is what I'm saying.
at least Bruce has both his knees. So
Yeah, it's all right. Nick Chubb owns your entire franchise.
we'll see you this season, buddy. I'm going to the game with Chris for BTM. Stay tuned for that.
That
That's
is
coming
awesome.
December.
You're gonna see Nick Chubb run all over you.
No. Joe Burrow's about to throw straight.
4 picks.
No.
Denzel Ward 99-yard pick six.
He might
again.
with his bad elbow. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll stay tuned, man. We're excited for the BTM. Well, Luke, I appreciate you coming on, man. Appreciate you answering questions. It's been great. It was a lot of fun. Felt it was a good monotone, sentimental kind of podcast, which I don't normally have on here, which is great. So, thank you for that. If you guys want to see Luke again, leave a like, leave a comment, let us know. Please want to see it with your family. If you're new, click the subscribe button. We are on the road to 50K. Your boy's trying to get there, like, at some point, maybe at the end of the season. That should be a good goal. By the end of the football season, maybe. Who knows? Support your boy. All social medias, all my links in the description. Go check that out. Leave a like, leave a subscribe. Appreciate you boys watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. Peace.